After my father's white-moonlight wife died, he adopted her daughter, Emily. She became my roommate. The first day Emily came to my house, my father told me to move into the guest room. Just because Emily said she liked my room, she also took the new clothes I had bought and told my father, "My sister is giving me her old clothes." My father stopped giving me money for living expenses. My brother took me out to eat, and Emily complained to my father that my brother thought I shouldn't eat leftovers. My father withheld my brother's allowance as a result. Emily smiled triumphantly when my brother and I were thrown out of the house. My father's inheritance finally belongs to me. My brother and I looked at each other. We knew in our hearts the family fortune could never be inherited by an adopted daughter. "Oh no, father, come and save me. My sister is going to run me over." Emily clung to a leg and sat in front of my car, crying. "Sophia, you and Emily usually have a bit of a feud, but you didn't have to run her over." My father saw Emily sitting in front of my car, with her bicycle lying on its side, and thought I had run her over. "Dad, Emily fell over by herself. I didn't even touch her. If you didn't run her over, did she fall over by herself?" My father didn't believe me at all. He only cared about his adopted daughter. I said, "She really did fall by herself. I have a dash cam in my car." I reached for it, but it didn't respond after pressing the button for a long time. "What's going on? I saw it yesterday and it was fine." "Emily, did you break my dash cam?" "That's enough. You were always driving the car. Emily never even sat in it. How could she have broken it? You were driving to hit her, so she couldn't testify. If I hadn't found out, I wouldn't have known you were so bad." "Dad, let it go. I'll just go home and put some medicine on it. Your sister is so tolerant of you, and look at your petty mind. Aren't you ashamed?" Seeing Emily's smug look, I stepped on the gas and ran straight over her feet. Since everyone thinks I hit her, I might as well admit it. Today Emily suddenly called me and asked me to go to my father's company. On my father's way home from work, Emily stopped me. She pushed over my bicycle and sat in front of the front wheel. I was about to ask her what was going on when I heard her shout at my father, saying that my sister wanted to run her over with the car. My father happened to pass by when Emily sat down. So there was the scene earlier. Hearing Emily's real scream, I stopped the bike and said to my father, "Now I believe I hit Emily. You ungrateful girl. I don't want a daughter like you. You get out of this house right now. If anything happens to Emily, you'll never set foot in this house again." After he finished speaking, he took Emily to the hospital. Emily was a poor student whom I sponsored. Her parents died young. She was raised by her uncle. I saw that she had excellent academic performance, so I sponsored her throughout high school. Later, we were admitted to the same university. We even became roommates. A month ago, my father came to the university to look for me. He happened to see Emily. After some inquiries, we found out that Emily was actually my father's first love's daughter. After learning about Emily's situation, my father adopted her and let her live in the family home. My father doesn't like my mother, and neither does he like my brother and me. If it weren't for his fertility problems, there would have been no place for my brother and me in the family. After my mother passed away, my father gave me and my brother living expenses, but took no other responsibility. One time, my father got drunk and kept mumbling the name of another woman. My brother and I then learned that my father had once loved someone deeply, but they had parted for some reason and later married my mother. After Emily came to our family, my father doted on her. He was afraid that she would suffer even the slightest grievance. From the outside, it looked as if Emily was my father's illegitimate daughter. But Emily regarded me as a thorn in her side. She went to my father to complain every other day. She said she didn't feel well and didn't want to eat. She insisted that I deliberately kept her away from the table. She refused to let the nanny clean the house. She insisted that I had told her that there were small stones in the rice. She also blamed me for it. My father was never satisfied with me. This time, he simply told me to leave. "I can't stand it in this house anymore. I'm going to move in with my brother. It'll save me the trouble of looking at it. I don't have much, just my ID and some everyday things. I've just come downstairs, and there I see Emily sitting on the sofa waiting for me. She's not wearing any gauze on her foot. It's only a slight sprain." She says to me with a smile, "Oh, are you running away from home, sister? If you ask me nicely, I'll go to Dad's and put in a good word for you." Emily had the upper hand. She started to gloat and show off to me. I asked her in return, "Emily, you don't think if you get rid of me, you'll become my father's biological daughter, do you?" Emily was exposed for her intentions. She simply glared at me. Folding her arms, she put on a fearless stance. Why not? Not only do I want to be Dad's only daughter, I will also become the heiress of the company. Emily, you would not have been able to go to college. I paid for you to go. If you don't want to repay me, that's fine. But you still want to get your hands on my family's wealth. How dare you mention it? You are so rich. You only paid for my tuition fees. You didn't give me a single cent for living expenses. You know how I survived in high school. I had to go to school during the day. In the evenings, I had to wash dishes in a restaurant. I was worried about running into bad people when I returned home late at night. I was always worried about what I would eat the next day. And you, Emily's eyes were fixed on me. They were cold as a snake's. She said, "You know perfectly well that I had to work because I didn't get any living expenses. And because my grades had dropped. You reduced the amount of financial aid you gave me. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you weren't getting any living expenses." Emily's uncle used to send her a monthly sum. I really didn't know that her uncle stopped sending money when she was in high school. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You did it on purpose. I've looked into it. Other poor students get several thousand yuan a month. You get hundreds of thousands of yuan a month in pocket money, but you wouldn't even give me a few hundred yuan. Now you earn 300,000 yuan a month. You should be satisfied. I admit I was wrong at the time. I shouldn't have supported her just because I felt sorry for her. Your family has so many assets. You only gave me 300,000 yuan. That's going to cost millions. In the future, the company will make money. I'll get dividends every year. Emily has really good sleep quality. She's already dreaming in the middle of the day. You should go see a psychiatrist. Your paranoia is quite serious. I walked around Emily. The taxi arrived. Sophia, you're jealous of me, aren't you? In my father's heart, I'm his real daughter. Before getting in the car, I gave her a cold glance. Let her figure it out for herself. Brother, I've moved out. As soon as I entered my brother's house, I couldn't help but rush up to him and hug him tightly. My brother gently touched my face and said, "You've been wronged." I sighed. It's fine. Dad never liked us anyway. Moving out actually made me feel much more relaxed. As I ate my favorite hot pot, I talked to my brother about what happened today. After listening to me, my brother said, "Looks like Emily has big ambitions." That's right. If I hadn't moved out today, she'd be so happy. She wouldn't have told me any of this. Sophia, don't worry, with me around, she won't be able to become the heiress. After 2 days at my new place, I went back to school. In class, an obese middle-aged woman suddenly burst in. She came straight towards me. "Sophia, you meddler. Today I'll make you look bad." Before I knew what was happening, I was on the floor, pushed there by the woman. I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. She had kicked me. She was about to kick me again. I waited for the moment when she lifted her foot. Then I grabbed her other foot. I pulled hard. She fell to the ground. I got up quickly. This is not appropriate behavior. You can do whatever you like at home, but you can't go out without a leash. I'm not the type to take a beating for no reason. I'll definitely get even. The price for assault is too low these days. At most, you'll spend a few days in detention. It's better to fight back hard. I immediately sat on the woman. I hit her in the face with both hands. She screamed and shouted, "You shameless person. How dare you hit me? I'm not finished with you." The woman struggled hard. She tried to shake me off. I almost fell over. I had to grab her hair to steady myself. I also took the opportunity to scratch her face with my fingernails. "What kind of person are you? You think everyone is like that? You're not pretty, and you talk badly. No wonder your husband doesn't like you." The teacher and the students pulled her and me apart. I took advantage of the fact that I was faster than her. Before we were separated, I gave her a hard kick. The teacher said sternly, "Madam, you had no reason to storm into the classroom and hit someone. Our school will definitely pursue this matter to the end. He has already reported the incident to the school leadership. This is no longer something he can handle. Someone broke into the school and injured a student. No matter what the reason is, the school will deal with it seriously, because this is a basic safety issue." Fortunately, there were no serious consequences this time. Otherwise, the principal would also find it difficult to shirk responsibility. The woman had calmed down. She took out a photo from her bag, held it in front of her chest, and pointed at me. She seduced my husband. She knew he had a family, but she still stepped in. This is a photo from their bed. The photo shows me lying naked in bed, doing intimate things with a man. The photo looks like it was taken from above. My face is clearly visible. After the people around them saw the situation, they started whispering. When the woman saw that everyone was looking, she yelled. She wanted the whole school to hear. My husband often buys her clothes and bags. He does whatever she says. And this woman actually wants my husband to divorce me. Your school doesn't care if a student is a third party. I'll take care of it for you." When the teacher saw the photo, it was like she had been slapped. She whispered, "No matter what your reason is, you can't just hit people." Yes. Sister, Dad just stopped your allowance. You went to a rich man. That's not very nice. Now that things have gotten so big, how can your sister help you keep it a secret? My classmates' looks at me have changed. After listening to Emily's words, I suddenly understood. It turned out that this was Emily's doing. She stepped on my foot in retaliation, trying to make me lose face. I dare not go out in the future. This auntie, you don't think, with a fake photo, you can justifiably hit someone, do you? What did you call me? You want to get a woman's attention, just call her old. You're the only old woman here. I can't call you auntie. Do I have to call you granny? I looked helplessly at the ceiling. Not only was this person stupid, but he also cared a lot about what other people thought of him. You, what do you mean you? I'm the daughter of a conglomerate. Do I have to sell myself to get a bag? Is your husband that great? He makes billions a year. Even if he doesn't eat or drink for decades, he still can't afford a toilet in my house. Open your eyes and see what this is. At your husband's level, can he support me? I took out the fake black card in my pocket and held it high so everyone could see it. After all, no one had seen a black card before. They couldn't tell the difference between real and fake. Sure enough, when the classmates saw the legendary black card, they remembered my identity and began to doubt what the woman had said. If someone falsely accuses you, don't rush to explain. No matter how you explain, people will still doubt you. The best way is to ask the other person a question. Reverse the accusation. Let them explain themselves. You, who are you trying to scare? Your card is fake. Don't believe her. You said my card is fake. Then show us the real one. Of course, the woman didn't have the black card, she said. You slandered me in public. Talk to my lawyer directly. There are surveillance cameras in the classroom. You can't get away with it. Now come with me to the police station. Tell me why you hit me. Once at the police station, the woman admitted it. Someone had sent her the photo. It had my name and school on it. Her husband had recently had an affair, and he had spent a lot of money on the woman. As soon as she saw the photo, she came to the school to find me. I had no idea the photos were fake. The woman was very nice, and there was no lasting damage, so I was only detained for 5 days. We had a fight, but I only suffered minor injuries, since I was still a student. The school made an exception and let us settle it privately. In addition, I demanded that the girl post a public apology to me on the school website. At first she refused, but when my lawyer arrived, she changed her mind for me. A public apology was more direct than a lawyer's letter, and it had a better effect. The next day, the school posted the woman's apology on the website. She specifically stated that someone had deliberately sent her a doctored photo, which had caused the misunderstanding. In the evening, I drove to my father's villa. I saw my father and Emily having dinner. With a bang, I placed the USB drive on the table. My father and Emily were both taken aback by my actions. I stared at Emily and questioned her. Why did you falsely accuse me of sleeping with someone else? Sis, I don't understand what you're saying. Of course, Emily wouldn't admit it. She had sent the photos anonymously. The other person had no idea who it was. Sophia, don't think that Emily is the one who caused you harm whenever you feel wronged. It turned out that I was the subject of a rumor. My father just thought it was a trivial matter. Emily, there was a strand of your hair in the letter you sent. You know that Emily's face suddenly turned pale. The DNA results will be ready tomorrow or the day after. Just wait until I sue you. I turned to my father and said, Dad, since you don't think a girl's reputation is important, I'll send Emily to jail for a few days. It shouldn't be a big deal, sister. Even if the letter did have my hair in it, you can't prove that I sent it. That's right. How can you be sure it's Emily when it's just a hair from an unknown source? A hair certainly doesn't mean anything. But if you add the surveillance video of you sending the letter, I pushed the USB stick in front of Emily. The police found it. Sister, I really didn't mean to do it. Please forgive me this time. Emily knew she couldn't get away with it. She had to admit her mistake. Emily, what are you talking about? You really did this. Why would you frame your sister, Dad? I know I was wrong. I won't do it again. I was just angry with my sister for running me over. But she's fine this time. Please talk to her for me. Emily was crying very hard. My father couldn't bear to see her like this. He cleared his throat and said, Sophia, your sister has already admitted her mistake. She won't do it again. Let's just let it go. Don't mention it again. Sister, I promise this is the last time. Please forgive me. Okay, forgive you can, but you have to send a letter of apology. Admit that the photo is your pea sister. Sophia, Dad, why are you so excited? Emily suffered some wrongs, what's the big deal? I can bear. She can't bear, you're so public. Emily will be everyone's gossip. My father defended Emily and said, I sneered at Emily and said, you either send an apology letter at school tomorrow or go to jail. After saying, I left the villa without looking back. I didn't care about my father's scolding from behind. Emily had no choice. She had to send the apology letter. I asked my brother to buy a hot search in advance, and I also found some internet trolls to control the comments. Emily was really angry this time. Someone found out about Emily's background, and it caused the company's stock price to drop. My father kept calling me, saying all kinds of nasty things. I just hung up. Emily was severely criticized by internet users and didn't dare go out for several days. She stayed at home all the time. Hello, Sophia, you lied to me. There is no surveillance camera next to the mailbox. You are so stupid as a pig. The phone hung up. There is nothing on the USB drive. I also made up the story about my hair. I just took a gamble after the hot search incident was over. My brother told me, Dad wants us to go home for dinner. Sophia, you should study abroad. I'll help you make the arrangements in the next few days. What subject would you like to study? I was shocked. Emily was so ruthless. She actually wanted to send me abroad. This was really great. Sophia was much smarter than me. It was just the right time to learn how foreigners managed companies. When she returned from her studies, Dad could rest assured and hand over the company to her. My brother really understood the situation. He hit the nail on the head. Emily's biggest worry is that I will become the heir to the company. I want to study finance. It's best to have a famous teacher. I'll learn quickly. I can also return to the company for an internship during the holidays. Emily listened to me. Her expression was a little uncomfortable. She originally only wanted to send me abroad for a few years. Keep me away. It's best to get married abroad, so as not to come back and compete with her for the company. If you want to study finance, I know some people. They can help. Dad, my sister has gone abroad. Who will keep me company? I only have my sister as a friend at school. Emily wanted to send me abroad, but then she didn't let me go. My father is a bit confused about what's going on. I told my father. It suddenly occurred to me. In fact, it was Aunt Lisa's son who wanted to study abroad. Aunt Lisa is the nanny in our family. Oh, then let Sophia stay at school with you. I stood up abruptly. I dropped the bowl on the floor. Dad, I know you like Emily, but you have to respect me. I'm a person, not an object. You can't just play with me. How can you talk to your father like that? It's so rude. Who do you think you are without me? You're nothing. Sis, you're wrong to say that. Before, you forced me to write an apology letter that caused the company's stock price to plummet. It was Dad who stayed up late every day reading documents and attending meetings. That stabilized the situation. You said you're not an object. So is Dad's company an object? Can you just do whatever you want to it? I asked Emily. If you hadn't made a mistake, would the market value have fallen? Stop it. Emily has already apologized to you. Why are you still holding a grudge? Dad, if Emily's bed photo was photoshopped, would you let that person off the hook? My brother stood up for me. My father was at a loss for words and couldn't answer. When we got home, I said to my brother, I really shouldn't have had any hope for Dad. I thought he just didn't know how to be a father. But seeing how good he was to Emily, I realized he just doesn't like me. My brother patted my head, comforted me. He doesn't like you. Brother likes you. Your brother's little angel. I nodded, wiped away my tears, and said, well, brother, you have to work hard. My sister's living expenses are gone. Haha, don't worry. I've secretly saved some money over the years. I won't let you sleep on the street, since my father doesn't like me. I don't need to please him anymore. Summer vacation came around quickly. On the first day of vacation, Emily hurried to her internship at the company. Before she left, she specifically asked my father to take me with him. She said she wanted to meet me. I don't know what Emily did. My father dotes on her, and he would do almost anything she asked. Emily bragged to me again in the car about her status at home. Dad, it will be very inconvenient for me to go to work without a car. My father replied curtly, that's easy. There's a BMW in our garage that I used to drive. The model is a bit old, but it's just right for you to get around. Emily frowned. She was unhappy immediately. Dad, you're letting me drive an old car. Isn't that just asking to be laughed at? Okay. I was wrong. What kind of car do you want? Dad, I want a Lamborghini. You can earn it back with a contract. You're not going to say no, are you? You're still at school. It's not appropriate to buy such an expensive car. How about if I buy you an imported BMW? No, I want a Lamborghini. Dad, you earn so much money a year. If I drive a BMW, other people will think you're going bankrupt. Okay, I'll buy it for you. My father looked a little upset at Emily. He couldn't care less about the expensive car. He quickly agreed. Emily said, "Thank you, Dad, you're so good to me." After he said that, he gave me a defiant look. "Hug, got a GPS? Do you know your place? You want to drive a luxury car? You still have to ask my permission." "Dad, I have no problem buying Emily a car, but if your shareholders saw it, they'd think, the adopted daughter drives a luxury car to work, but the real daughter rides a bike. They'd wonder what kind of person I am. Relationships are complicated. My father thinks it's no big deal buying Emily a car, but the shareholders don't think so. First, if he's so stingy with his real daughter, how generous will he be with others? Second, my brother was the heir apparent. Now suddenly there's a high-profile adopted daughter. People can't help but wonder, is the chairman about to hand over the reins to a successor? If the biological son and adopted daughter are fighting over the family fortune, who should we support? If they make a big scene, will the company's stock price fall? My father has been in the business world for so many years. He understood my concerns at once. Emily, Dad just remembered, the company needs to buy a batch of raw materials. I can't buy you a car for now. Dad, Emily was very angry, but seeing my father's serious expression, she had to suppress her anger. She said, okay. Emily understood her father. She would buy a car next time. Although Emily didn't understand what I meant, she could tell that my father wouldn't buy her a car this time. She gave me a fierce glare. She thought to herself, just you wait. I crossed my arms. I didn't think it was a big deal. When we arrived at the company, Emily held her head high, puffed out her chest, walking in front of me. She told everyone she met that she was the daughter of the company chairman. As soon as my father entered the office, he got busy. He told Emily and me to look around. I didn't want to stay with Emily, so I went to my brother's place. I stayed at my brother's until after work. Then I went home. I never went to the company again. My brother said, Emily has been hanging around the company lately. She's been asking about the company's assets. She also asked my father to take her to business gatherings. She dressed more extravagantly than I, the real daughter. Having grown accustomed to the luxurious life of a daughter, she forgot where she came from. That day, I called my father. I said I wanted to attend the wealthy gathering in the evening. Emily saw me in front of the hotel. She was very angry. She asked me, "Why are you here?" I should be asking you that. This is a high society banquet. You're just an adopted girl from a remote place. What's your business here? Emily hates it when people mention that she's adopted. It's a constant source of pain for her. Emily glanced at my t-shirt and jeans. She sneered. HMPH. So what if you're born now you can't even afford a decent dress? She continued sarcastically. A fallen phoenix is no better than a chicken. Ha ha ha. Emily, your stupidity is still so creative. What do you mean you'll understand in a minute? I was the first to enter the hotel. Emily was still outside, stamping her feet in anger. As soon as I entered, I rushed to the toilet to check my phone. Those people with status, they all like to be a little late. My father has taken Emily to a few parties, but they were all small clients. It's okay if there are a few problems, but today's gathering is different. Everyone here is a big shot. Sigh. After just a few parties, she thinks she's a princess. Today I'll show Emily what real high society is. I take a glass of red wine from the waiter and walk leisurely over to Emily. Miss Emily is so pretty, especially this dress. It fits perfectly. It's okay. My father just picked it out. Miss Emily's necklace is really special. I've never seen it at Bulgari. Really, my father had the designer make it for me. I never even noticed what brand it was. Miss Emily, here's my business card. Emily, what are you doing here? I've finally found you, sister. Everyone around Emily turned to look at me. I raised my glass and nodded lightly at them. An invisible aura immediately filled the air. You are Miss Sophia. The news of my father's adopted daughter has already spread. Anyone who can call themselves Emily's sister must be her real daughter. I smiled politely at the girl who had recognized me. It was a tacit admission. Everyone now gathered around me. No one paid any attention to Emily. Miss Sophia is really beautiful. This dress really brings out your charm. The girl who had just praised Emily's dress for fitting now turned to me. Miss Sophia's simple yet fashionable style is really great. She's the perfect example of a fashionista. Wow, So minimalist is the new trend. I feel like I'm wearing too much jewelry. It makes me look a bit tacky. Miss Sophia, here's my card. This is my card. This is mine. Can't you see it? Her whole outfit doesn't cost $100. Emily saw me surrounded by people. She was jealous. Her usual gentle image was gone. I looked into the distance and calmly took a sip of red wine, as if she hadn't heard Emily's words. Miss Emily, what do you mean by that? This craftsmanship is obviously the work of a master. That's right. How could Miss Sophia wear something cheap? Miss Emily, don't talk nonsense for so many years. The master has always had this style. It's called returning to basics. That's right. That's right. When you have a powerful identity, you can wear anything and it will be accepted. But if you don't have a powerful identity, wearing anything won't help. Once the identity of the Johnson family's daughter was revealed, Emily, the fake daughter, was ignored. In order to please me, they even stepped on my back. What's wrong with you? The color of this shirt has already faded from washing. Emily grabbed me by the collar in anger. She showed everyone. The commotion attracted the attention of the people around us. Emily saw that the crowd was growing. She wanted to take my shirt off and show it to everyone. I picked up the red wine in my hand and poured it directly over Emily's head. Ah! Emily suddenly got splashed in the face with wine. She subconsciously let go of my hand. I took the opportunity to kick her, kicking her to the ground. Then I casually straightened my collar. Emily was full of wine. Her hair was messy. She looked like a drowned rat. Sophia, you've gone too far. You're asking for the moon. I'm really impressed. Her breath stinks. Where are the security guards? Get her out of here. I hid in the crowd and called for security. Emily's eyes were red with anger. She had no regard for etiquette. She rushed at me and tried to strangle me. There were all these important business people there. The security guards were all professional ex-soldiers. They quickly overpowered Emily. They covered her mouth and dragged her out. Woo-hoo-hoo. As Emily was being dragged out, she glared at me viciously. That look made my heart race. I felt like she really wanted to get me this time. Excuse me. There's been a small incident. Please continue. Continue. The manager immediately came out to apologize. He was sweating profusely. I guess he'll get a lecture when he goes back. The atmosphere reactivated. Everyone continued chatting and doing business, but everyone knew. We, the Johnson family, had become the joke of the dinner. Miss Sophia, please come with me. Someone is waiting for you. The manager called me over. I followed him to the private room. I saw Emily, who had just been dragged out, crying in my father's arms. My father looked especially distressed. As soon as I entered, Emily's crying became even louder. Dad, I really feel ashamed. I only said that my sister's clothes were not suitable for the occasion. As a result, she hit me, and the security guards threw me out. I really feel ashamed to live. Sophia, is this how you treat your sister? My father didn't care what happened. He just slapped me. You have disgraced the Johnson family. What will tomorrow's news report say? You must now kneel down to Emily and admit your fault. I lost the feeling in half of my face. My vision began to blur. My ears were ringing with a buzzing sound. I could only see my father's mouth moving as he spoke. I didn't need to guess. He was definitely telling me to apologize to Emily. HMPH. I am the real Johnson family's eldest daughter. That adopted daughter from the slums. She is not even worthy to be compared to me. Father, look at your sister. She has really gone too far if it weren't for her money. How dare she yell at you like that? I've stopped paying for her living expenses. I'm also holding her brother's money. Where does she get the money? Everyone at the company knows. My sister owns a villa. These days, Emily knows all about the company's assets. She even knows about my brother's and mine. She wants the villa, but the villa was left to her by her mother. That's not appropriate. When my mother was alive, she gave me the villa left by my grandfather. When my father found out, he didn't say a word. My father said, "Look at your sister's attitude. If she dares to treat me like this today, she'll dare to treat you like this tomorrow. It's because she has assets in her hands. If she didn't have these, she wouldn't dare to go against you. Sophia, you will transfer the villa to Emily tomorrow, and you must apologize to her properly." I had just come back to my senses when I heard my father make such an unreasonable request. He said, "Dad, you like Emily so much. Why don't you buy her a villa yourself? You want to use my things to do a favor." No way. The company is currently in a tight financial situation. I don't have the money to buy a villa for the time being. My father had to change the subject. "You child, you are getting more and more unruly. Emily is right. You only dare to speak to me like this because of your mother's relationship. If you don't agree today, don't ever call me Dad again. I'll never give you any of the Johnson family's stuff, not even a little bit. If you won't give it to Sophia, I'll give it to her. My brother finally arrived. Michael, you're going against me too. My father stared at my brother in disbelief. I'm just telling the truth. The villa belongs to my grandfather. It has nothing to do with my father. My father has no right to make Sophia give it up. What do you know? I'm her father. Her stuff is my stuff. Even your stuff belongs to me. Cough, cough. Emily came over to defend my father. Michael, who do you think you are? How can you talk to your father like that? You are living such a good life now, all thanks to my father's support. If it weren't for my father, you would be nothing. If you are really capable, don't rely on your father. Don't rely on the company. Start your own business. And after your mother and father got married, Grandpa's property already belonged to your father. I couldn't help laughing. I never thought someone could put greed into such high-sounding words. Emily was right. You can get by in the outside world. It's all thanks to my reputation. Without me, you wouldn't even be able to get into the party today. Since Dad sees me like this, Sophia and I will leave the Johnson family. Michael, what do you mean? Dad frowned, feeling a little off. It's exactly what it means. I want to see if I can get a ticket to the party without your help. My brother hugged me tightly, protecting me in his arms, and turned around and left. You guys stop. If you dare to step out of this door, don't ever come back. Don't ever expect to get anything from me. You two guys. According to reports, the Johnson Group is experiencing internal conflicts over the issue of inheritance. The original successor, Michael, suddenly resigned and took several key employees with him. Today, the share price of Johnson Group continues to fall. For more details, please stay tuned. After the party was over, my brother started his own business. He specialized in competing with Johnson Group. As a result, Johnson Group's capital chain broke. It fell into a debt crisis. The company's market value fell rapidly. Emily saw that things were not good. Let my father come and apologize to me. She said, Sophia, stop fighting with your father. Okay, you persuade Michael. This will only make people laugh. It's not going to do any good. Yes, sister, Dad's things will eventually be yours anyway. Why don't we just merge the companies? We're all family. There's no need to hold grudges. Emily, you're really calculating. Not only do you want my dad's wealth, but you also want my share and my brother's share. You won't let go. You think the Johnson Group is your own family, sister. What are you talking about? How could I possibly have such thoughts? I truly care about you. I even persuaded Dad to let you study abroad. Hey, I looked outside the compartment and suddenly saw a lot of people standing there. I was shocked. I asked, what do you mean by this? Cold sweat broke out behind my back. Sophia, go persuade your brother. Don't let him get confused. As long as you and your brother give me all the assets, I promise to let you live comfortably abroad. You make it clear. Do you hand it over to you? Or to my father? Or you? Emily glanced at my father. Of course it's my father. Do you think you can provoke a rift between us like this? Johnson, the adopted daughter you've always protected, is actually the one who stabbed you in the back. What did you say? Explain it to me. My father grabbed me by the collar. Dad, did you hear what she said? Hurry up and send her abroad. It's better to get it over with quickly. My brother may have taken some clients with him, but it's not as if the Johnson Group's financial chain will snap immediately. Seeing my father's puzzled expression, I pointed at Emily and said to him, don't you get it? Your company has already been emptied. My father finally understood. He shouted at Emily, what have you done to my company? The people at the door heard the noise and immediately came in and pinned Johnson to the ground. What are you doing? Look carefully. I am your boss. Stop shouting. They have been listening to me for a long time. Emily rubbed her ears. What do you want? I am your father. Father, what are you afraid of? I just think you are too slow to pay. Just take it. Anyway, all this money will eventually be mine. What's the harm in paying it early, you idiot? You are destroying your future wealth. The company is still here. The money will keep flowing in, but you're ruining it for the sake of a little profit. Even a pig knows that a full stomach is better than a full hand. The company will still be yours even if it's rich. Emily's complaints echoed in the box. I asked you to buy me a car. You refused. I wanted a villa. You refused. You wouldn't even give me a share in the company. You refused to give me any. Since you're not willing to give me anything, then I'll just take it myself. You ungrateful girl, I'm short of cash. I can't get the money to turn over. I'll definitely buy it for you when there's money in the account. You're just being deliberately difficult. You're so rich. How can you not even have a few tens of millions? Actually, my father really doesn't. Although he is the owner of a listed company, his net worth is billions, but most of it is fixed assets, and he has to run the company all the time. The cash flow is pitiful. You're really going to make me mad. Cough, cough. My father took a breath, slowly calming down, suddenly feeling something was wrong, as if he had remembered something. Wait, you don't even know how the company operates. How did you empty the company? It's very simple. I used your name to have the finance department invest in shell companies. Then I used the finance department's name to get you to sign. So you thought it was a normal investment. The money went to my account. How much money did you take from the company? My father turned pale. He thought of one possibility. It's only 20 million. Who knew it would be so unlucky? It ran into a broken capital chain. Emily never wanted to ruin the company. After all, she could get money for a long time, but luck was just so bad. The contract involved hundreds of millions of dollars. Didn't you read it carefully? My father coughed blood from anger. He said, "You mean, the finance department is cheating me?" Puff, I really want to continue watching the show, but Emily's words made me laugh. She asked, "You did it. The finance department is your people. Do it." The people who were supposed to protect Emily suddenly turned against her. They pushed Emily to the ground. "What are you doing? Look clearly. I am your boss. Stop shouting. They have long listened to me." I used Emily's words to reply to her. "What's going on? Sophia, what have you done since you're sending me abroad? I'll return the favor. I'll send you abroad for a little fun." Emily would never do that. How could she send me abroad to study? It's more like sending me to beg. As soon as Emily heard this, her face suddenly turned white. "Hurry up and say it." "Sister, I was joking. Don't take it seriously." "Oh, really? Then why did you charter a private jet? Just to take a look, sister. I was wrong. I really was wrong. Please let me off. I promise I won't do it again next time. It was my father who told me to do it. He said you wouldn't listen. You need to be taught a lesson. It has nothing to do with me. Emily, you're really something. As soon as things looked bad, you just passed the buck to me. I've seen it all today. Your so-called filial piety. It's all fake. What do you mean passing the buck to you when I'm not around? Have you ever treated your own daughter well? It's obvious that you're trying to drive a wedge between us. If it weren't for you, stop it. Don't make this a marketplace. Just go straight to the destination. I'm getting a headache just listening to you. Sister, please give me another chance. Where are you taking me? Daughter. Dad knows he's wrong. I'll make it up to you in the future. I want to see Michael. I want to see my son. Forget about my son for now. My brother took employees from Johnson Group. In fact, he did it to confuse Johnson. What he really took were the finance staff. We let the finance staff get close to Emily. We told her she could get cash by investing in a shell company. But Emily couldn't read contracts. She thought she was only investing 20 million. In fact, the contract said 800 million. My brother's company was actually a shell company. Later, the finance staff took the contract and asked Johnson to sign it and told him that it was an investment chosen by Emily because our company's project really exists. Johnson didn't think much of it. Instead, he thought that Emily had good judgment. It was for this reason that the Johnson Group's capital chain broke. Emily's people suddenly turned against her. It was because I found out that Johnson went to the school to retrieve my file and asked the leader for a recommendation letter. After that, he chartered a private jet. I then understood. My father wanted to send me to study abroad, but Emily bribed her subordinates behind my father's back. She planned to take my ID and passport before I got off the plane so that I would be helpless abroad, so I made arrangements in advance. I first bribed those people. No matter how much Emily paid, I'll double it. Emily was so ruthless to me. I'll send her to Africa to have some fun. There are a lot of men there. She will definitely be happy. My father was sent to a mental hospital. I gave the caretakers a big red envelope to take good care of him. The medicine must be taken on time, not one tablet less. The chairman of Johnson Group went insane. He didn't leave a will. My brother became the legal heir. He took over the company without a hitch. I became a genuine parasite.